Hi, welcome back to Sherry's Crocheted Happiness. I am working on my temperature blanket that I started back at the 1st of January. We are on the 24th of January, and so I am almost caught up with my 24 rows. You can see that there's been quite a variation in temperature with a little bit of a block of 30s in there. And we've had a few 50s days, but mostly in the 30s and 40s. I was hoping we would get some snow, but no snow this year. Kind of bummed about that because, it's always kind of fun to let the kids out and play in the snow and just see it and enjoy it from inside or at work, not actually driving in it. But anyways, just to remember, I'm using a half double crochet on my blanket. I'm using a G-hook, and I have my blanket at 150 stitches chains across. And I am having questions when I talk about my temperature blanket at work. I've had some people asking me, how long do you think the blanket's going to be? So I have a tape measure here. And right now, till the 24th, is about 8.5 inches. So I figure maybe about 10 inches for the month of January. And so if I do that times 12 for 12 months, I figure maybe 120 inches, which would make a nice size blanket for sitting on the couch or wherever you need to wrap up in a blanket. So I think it'll be a nice cozy blanket. So I'm just finishing up here on one of my rows from the 21st. And the 22nd was actually 43 degrees. And then the 23rd was 50, and then our high today was 48. So I'm going to do a couple more rows of purple, a row of blue, and one more row of purple. It'll be kind of fun to get into the 60s so I can get a different color started on here. I think it is kind of fun to be able to change it up a little bit and have the different colors on here. I kind of look forward to looking at the temperature and seeing where it's at, what the high was, to see if I get to stay on the color I was on yesterday or if I get to do a different color. So if this is your first time checking in with me and you're kind of curious as to what a temperature blanket is, I have preset colors varying in 10 degrees, starting at below 0 and going up to 100. And every time when I check the temperature, wherever the temperature falls in that range, I crochet one row for that color temperature. So purple is my 40 degrees, pink is my 30, and this turquoise is my 50s. And I have obviously 60s all the way through, and then I threw 100, and then I have below 20s and below, and I haven't had to use any of those, which is kind of a bummer. Maybe at the end of this year, maybe November, December will be cooler and we'll get some snow then. Seems crazy to think that I would be planning for November and December already when we just barely got out of December, but I guess, when I'm committed this much to a project, got to plan ahead, so. Anyways, so this week I've been working on this. I usually try to do it every day. Some days I get a little behind and I catch up. I do, however, write the temperature down every day so that I can make sure that I keep up on that so I know what the temperature is. I've also been working on some other projects. I had a request from a dear friend's daughter to make a weighted baby doll, crocheted baby doll, to represent the weight and length of her baby, Gracelyn. Gracelyn was a preemie, and she was 18 inches and 4.2 pounds, and so getting the doll the right length, no problem. Getting the doll the right weight and figuring out what to use as the weight was my biggest challenge. And I don't know if any of you have ever made a weighted doll, but trying to figure out what exactly to use. That one I didn't want to use popcorn or beans or some rice, something like that, bugs might get into. So I had originally tried something like rock salt, and rock salt was too bulky and too big. And then I saw that Joann's had weighted pellets, but those again, 2 pounds is 2 pounds in that stuff, and it still would have taken up just as much space as the rock salt. And so, as a last-ditch effort, I went over to the where the glass beads were, wondering those are pretty heavy. Maybe I can use those. And long story short, I ended up using sand, very fine sand that goes into like the bottom of a vase to keep it stable, and that seemed to work really well. I did put it inside of like a nylon sock to hold it so that it doesn't spill out. But it worked well, and the baby doll turned out pretty good. I should have brought it up with me when I to my craft room so I could show you how she turned out. But she's getting ready to get mailed off, so that's what I was working on. And when I'm not crocheting, I am a full-time dental assistant, and so Monday, which is a normal day off, usually in dental offices, we had a free dental day, which was pretty cool. We had over 100 people show up at our dentist office, and our awesome doctors and hygienists and other assistants volunteered for the day, and we were able to treat a lot of people with either extractions or fillings, and get a lot of people out of pain that couldn't otherwise afford the dental care. And it's pretty rewarding to be able to help someone who's been in pain for some time with a broken tooth and just hasn't been able to get into the dentist. And it's pretty awesome that our doctors do this every year. I think this is the 9th year. I've only worked in this office for three and a half years, so this is my 3rd one. But it's amazing that the people are have to live through life with pain like that. And I'm grateful that I work for an office that is amazing enough to volunteer and donate their time and to help people. So that's what I've been doing this week, and I'm just gonna keep crocheting right along on my blanket here and get my next few rows done. I am almost to the end here, and I get to put my blue color on to change it up for my 50s. So maybe I'll hang out with you for just a minute or so longer while I finish this up so you can see again how I change out my color. I also have a Facebook page, Sherry's Crochet, and I post all my projects on there, and I get requests on there for orders. So if you are interested, if you don't crochet, or you find a project you're just not able to make or don't want to make or whatever, if you send me a message on my page, I can, if I can find a pattern. Sometimes I can wing it, sometimes I need a pattern. I can help make that for you. And I sell stuff through my Facebook page, and can answer questions that way too. I guess I can answer them here too if you leave a comment, and I'll do my best to answer it. I'm by no means an expert on crocheting, but I can probably answer a question, or at least send you in the right direction to figure out how to do that. Alright, so we're almost here to the end of this row for my 40s, and then yesterday was up in the 50s, so I'm going to switch this out in just a second here. Get down to the end. Down, down, down we go. Crochet in. And hopefully you are enjoying your crocheting, and maybe it's even getting you back on a project that you've maybe started and set aside, and maybe I can inspire you to pick that up and finish it. Use crocheting to relax at the end of your day. Alright, so here I'm at the end of my row. I'm just going to snip my yarn. and get my yarn for my 50s. So I have my 3 of my stitch on there. So remember that, you know, with my stitch I yarn over, I go through, I yarn over, and I have my 3 stitches. Now if I was going to continue with purple, I would just yarn over and pull through, but I'm going to change to my turquoise because I have a 50s temperature. So I yarn over and pull it through the 3 until I just have the blue on there. And then I'm going to chain up my 2 and turn my whole project. Okay. And then we talked about tails before, so I'm going to pull my tails up. I'm going to yarn over and pull my tails up so that I'm going to crochet over them as I'm going down my row. So there's my tails right there. And I have pulled them up and pulled them over so that I can finish crocheting them and tucking them in. We've talked about before about how there's nothing worse than getting done with your project and realizing that you have to go back in and tuck in a bunch of loose ends. Okay, so there's that side, and then there's that side. My tail is all tucked in. Alright, so my phone just told me it's my battery's dying, per the usual for me. So I'm going to say goodbye. Don't forget to like my channel and comment below. And keep crocheting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.